Reports surfaced from Turkey this week that the remains of Noah's Ark may have been found.
I'm pretty sure what I'm looking at right now is what's left of Noah's Ark. I didn't travel halfway across the world to see it if I didn't think it was real. So, wow, oh my God. I'm sure we've all heard the story. A man named Noah was warned of a great flood to come, so he built a ship, a really big ship, an ark so big it could fit a pair of every animal. It's a story so important that Muslims, Jews, and Christians alike have all taught it from their holy books for generations. Now, what if I told you that I'm crazy enough to believe that story? And what if I told you that I'm also crazy enough to go to the mountains of Ararat to try and see the ark for myself? This is the story of a 20-year-old kid traveling across the world to try and find out where he really comes from. I came to the province of Agri in Turkey because in this province they have the exact spot on Mount Ararat where it's rumored that Noah's Ark landed, so we're gonna go check that out. Stay tuned and see everything we're gonna get up to today with the history that we're looking at.
بالكرمانجي أبيبنا الله يخلي أفندينا تو 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 الله يخلي أفندينا ورا 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 والراس حيرانا مجنى تما جل 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 يا ماما جان حيران سلمي بايونا.
So where we're driving right now, we're only 2 kilometers away from the Turkey-Iran border. There's some military bases that we saw, both Turkish, and then in the distance you can see some Iranian military posts. To my right, outside the window, is the Armenian border, but that's a lot further in the distance, so we can't see any like Armenian military or anything like that. But still, it's crazy. We're in a spot where 3 borders meet. Okay, we're here at the base of Mount Ararat.
Evet kanki Ağrı Dağı'na geldi. Burası Ağrı Dağı. Ağrı Dağı'nın eteklerindeyiz şu an. Sevgiler, saygılar. Yes.
This is the biggest mountain in Turkey. It's like 6,000 meters tall almost. Half of it is in Turkey and the other half of it is in Armenia. So we're gonna go closer to it and we're gonna see this historic mountain where Noah's Ark landed. So we drove up this winding mountain road, which was really beautiful for about 20 minutes. And now we're up so high. You can see we're up so high, and we found in the hillside here, it's kind of this fossilized shape of an ark that's right here. So that's crazy, man. There's all these sheep below and we're in the highlands here. So right there is an Iranian border post, and this whole hilltop is filled with landmines to protect the border. So you can't walk up here or you might step on a landmine and you might explode. So it's better you don't. The fact that it's here standing still to this day, it just blows my mind. Now, I'm not making this video to try and convince you whether or not this is the Ark, because that's honestly something for you and your beliefs to decide. But I do want to share this amazing experience, and hopefully that's enough to inspire someone else out there to look more into this pretty cool piece of history. So with all that out of the way, I'll show you some of the research that I did and let you know whether I even still think this is the Ark. We gotta look at the flood itself. Is there actually any evidence that a great flood ravaged the land of Noah thousands of years ago? Well, it turns out the answer to that question is pretty obvious once you look at a map. The modern-day Black Sea actually wasn't always a saltwater sea. In fact, modern-day scientists believe it actually used to be a freshwater lake. So this guy, Robert Ballard, best known for being the underwater researcher that discovered the Titanic back in 1985, has actually recently taken an interest in exploring the depths of the Black Sea. And Ballard and his team actually found evidence of a 7,000-year-old shoreline on the Black Sea that was suddenly flooded. Water levels suddenly rose over a geographic land barrier in what is now modern-day Istanbul. This rapid surge of water over the natural dam would have potentially had the force to push all the way into the valleys of the mountainous highlands and perhaps even into the Mesopotamian plain. Considering the effects this would have had on the Euphrates and Tigris rivers, alongside the scientific evidence of 8 feet of flood sediment and deposits in the southern Sumerian cities of Ur and Kish in modern-day Iraq, plenty of geographical evidence exists to support a flood of godly proportion. So yeah, there's conclusive evidence of an epic flood in the Middle East approximately 7,000 years ago. But what about the Ark? How do we know the two are related? Well, in 1949, during a US aerial reconnaissance mission of what used to be the Turkish-Soviet border, probing imaging discovered a boat-like object in the mountains of Ararat, the same region of Urartu, which translated from Hebrew means Ararat, where Moses wrote in the Old Hebrew Bible as being the final resting place for Noah's Ark. The findings remained uninvestigated until heavy rainfall and earthquakes further exposed the formation in October of 1959. It was actually during a mapping mission for NATO in that same year that a Turkish soldier discovered the precise location. In 1960, a team of Turkish archaeologists determined the site to be insignificant, and this status remained the same until the late 1970s when archaeologist Ron Wyatt and his team ran a series of tests at the ark-shaped object. Radar scans of the ground below revealed a grid of iron material directly underneath the structure. Using the data collected in these radar scans, an intact piece of timber was identified and later dug up. Following the examination of this timber piece in 1986, the Turkish government officially recognized the Dura Pinar site as Noah's Ark. That's the story right there for you, plain and simple. So, do I still think this is Noah's Ark after all that research? I'm gonna be totally honest here. So much of this story fits together in a way that makes sense. But as a Muslim, I wanted to make sure that the location aligned with where the Holy Quran says the Ark of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam landed on Jebel al-Judi. According to the Quran, Noah's Ark landed on Mount Judi. The name of the mountain I went to is Mount Tendurek. However, there is a Mount Judi, but it's over 250 kilometers south of the site that I visited. And this finding really made me scratch my head because, of course, I take the Quran to be the truth. But at the same time, there was a direct contradiction between the location of Noah's Ark described in the Torah compared to the location described in the Quran, or at least I thought. It wasn't until I dug deeper into what the Torah could have meant when it described the mountains of Ararat. Even though Mount Judi is part of the Zagros mountain range and nowhere near Mount Ararat, the ancient kingdom of Ararat spanned all the way from the Armenian highlands and into the mountains south of Lake Van. This means that Mount Judi was once a mountain of the kingdom of Ararat, which is coherent with the location described in the Torah. Things got even crazier when I went even further with my research of Mount Judi, when I discovered that the meaning of the name of the nearest city to the mountain, Surnak, actually means city of Noah. Sur meaning city and Nak meaning Noah. So being truthful, after having discovered those things about Mount Judi, I now have a lot more speculation surrounding the legitimacy of the site that I visited. I can't know for sure whether the Mount Judi of southeastern Turkey is the same as the El Judi described in the Quran, but I'm extremely curious about the mountain now nonetheless. I'm really hoping that one day I can go back to Turkey, except this time to Surnak, where Mount Judi is located, and maybe I'll find some more answers there, and maybe I won't. I think that when it comes to the subject of religious archaeology, it's important to keep an open mind because none of us can know for certain where any of these locations are. And truth be told, I have no idea whether or not what I saw in the mountains of Ararat was actually Noah's Ark. But that's what makes trying to find these places talked about in Holy Scripture so fascinating, because it's such an amazing chance to learn more about culture, history, and what it means to be human. Also totally random, but I thought I'd include it at the end of the video because it was a pretty cool experience for me. I ended up running into a couple journalists while I was in Agri, and I guess they thought what I was doing was interesting enough to do some news stories about. So here's some clips from my first ever news interview. Here we are, Ishak Pasha. This is the reporter that did the report. So very cool.
Journalist, Anadolu Ajansı.
Journalist with the news agency.
Anadolu Ajansı.
Anadolu Ajansı.
Video foto. Video. Hey dostum. Kanka ne haber ya?
Okay, so I'm here now with Abdullah, the journalist. that I met earlier today, and he's also a journalist, and I'm a broadcast media journalism student. So we've just been talking about journalism and how it is working in the journalism industry and the broadcast industry as well. So I've been learning a lot of things from him. And yeah, the people here are so nice, so hospitable. I don't speak Turkish and he doesn't speak English, so we've been using our phones on Google Translate to talk to each other, but it's been good enough. It's amazing with technology how even two people that don't speak the same language can sit down at a cafe and have a conversation and learn so much from each other. So it's been a really fun experience. Okay.